I thank the gentle lady. Now we have Mr. Veasey. You're recognized, sir, for your 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank the witnesses for being here today. I think that we've learned a lot today that blocking bills like COPPA and other things that protect our kids is bad, and that we shouldn't be doing that. And so I appreciate your comments today and you sharing some of those things. I also wanted to talk very briefly about the attempted removal of 2 minority commissioners from the FTC and how I think that that is really bad for the things that we're trying to accomplish here today to protect our children and other consumers, as this agency has a very long history of doing. It's unconstitutional, it's wrong, and that is the type of thing that could really further wreck our kids and our teenagers' lives. And that's not what we want. I think that that's the one thing that we've heard from the panel is that we don't want things that are going to make it harder for our young people. We want to protect them, and we can't do that if we're going to try to undermine the Constitution. Commissioner Slaughter, I wanted to ask you, you have a very strong record for advocating for consumer protections with ongoing supply chain disruptions and shifting tariff policies. I really worry that unfair and deceptive business practices are going to be on the horizon. How does President Trump's attempt to remove you and the other commissioner from the minority impact the Federal Trade Commission's ability to hold corporations and people that want to hurt our kids and other consumers through things like price gouging accountable?
Thank you. Congress designed the FTC over 100 years ago, 111 years ago, and set it up to be a bipartisan agency made up of members from both parties who serve staggered terms because Congress understood that that was a really important way to insulate the work of the FTC from corrupting influences, from partisanship, and from political interference. Over the time I've served at the FTC, our staff have gone up against some of the most powerful companies in court. They've done that supported by commissioners from both parties because we understand that our obligation is to enforce the law without fear or favor. That is based in the design of the FTC that Congress set up. And I'm very concerned that my attempted removal not only eliminates the bipartisan voices that Congress intended, but it also sends a message to the majority commissioners that they too could be removed at a whim if they're not willing to take action that may be a favor to some of these big companies, the most powerful companies in the world. And that's really concerning if what we want, what we all want, I think, is for the focus of the administration of the law to be on the American people, the children, the consumers, the workers, and honest businesses.
That's scary because that's almost the type of thing that you hear of in a communist country. Commissioner Slaughter, also, I know as the nation's top privacy enforcer that you guys want to protect Americans' data, their personal data. And data, again, that could be key. And I think that everybody on this panel seems to express an interest in helping kids especially, and that kids can have data. All of us can. And I wanted to ask you, with data breaches on the rise and targeted advertisements constantly testing the limits of consumer privacy, how does your attempted removal and the other commissioners' attempted removal weaken the FTC's ability to protect users online? And do you see this as part of a broader effort to undermine the agency's independence?
Yeah, I'm very worried about it. The FTC has conducted a study on social media and video streaming services, data collection and use practices. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. It started under the first Trump administration. It was the product of a bipartisan effort by myself, former Commissioner Wilson, former Commissioner Chopra. We finally released the report last year, and what I didn't get a chance to say is that report talks not only about the way data is collected, but also how it's used. We've heard a little bit about some of the really disturbing challenges that kids are set up with online. We heard about the choking challenge. There's been the Tide Pod challenge. The report that we issued talked about the ways in which companies use data to fuel engagement and interest, including around things like this that create real material harms for kids that cannot be undone. Once it happens, it's too late. So our job, as all of the parents in this audience know, is to get ahead of those problems, to send clear signals to the market on a bipartisan basis about what conduct is prohibited by the law and how companies bear the burden of following the law, and that needs to be done without fear or favor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.